Hello, I'm Dave Speakman. This week I'd like to look at this PreSonus Monitor Station version 2. I bought this a few weeks ago. So if you're using an in-the-box system and you're not using a console as a centerpiece of your studio, this kind of ties the gap between your audio interface and various other things that you need. First and foremost, what it is a monitor controller. So we have a volume control and 3 different outputs for 3 different sets of speakers. I'm presently just using 2 sets of speakers, but when I bought a second set of monitors, I felt that I needed to be able to go between those in hardware rather than doing it in software. I could have done it just using different outputs on my audio interface, but that would have been a little bit clunky, I felt. I bought this PreSonus Monitor Station. The guy at PMT, Luke at PMT in Manchester, showed me this as part of the demo of the speakers, and I ended up buying one of these as well, so he's obviously quite a good salesman. I hadn't appreciated just how good it was actually until I got it. I bought it initially for those things, and that it had a mono button. That was something that I really wanted. Again, you can have a software solution to that, but just being able to put your mixes straight into mono on a button is really important, especially these days as people are using these PreSonus systems and things like this to listen to music, which actually aren't just mono systems. So if we're not referencing the mixes in mono, we're going to run into problems really of not being able to deliver to everybody. Your mixes aren't going to sound the same essentially. It also has a dim switch, which is useful for when you're talking to other people in the studio. And we have 3 different inputs. I'll come back to that. One of the main things that I bought this for, as well as using it to switch between the speakers, it works as an excellent centerpiece for headphone mixes. You have a Q output, a main Q output on the back, which I've hardwired into my headphone amplifier that feeds the other rooms in the studio. You can then change that between 3 different inputs. At the moment, I've got it set so that my main outputs are one of the outputs, and then there's an auxiliary output, but I could put a 3rd thing in. And obviously, if I wanted to get more technical, I could start to patch things on the patch bay. There's 4 headphone amplifiers on here, which means I can use these headphone amplifiers in the control room. And then there's a Q output, a main Q output, which, as I said a minute ago, I'm using to feed my headphone amplifier. You can also monitor these sources in your main monitors, which means that if I'm setting up a headphone mix on outputs 9 and 10 of my audio interface in the DAW, I can actually listen to that through my monitors so that I can hear what the headphone mix is. So rather than trying to second guess on what people are saying, so they say, oh, I need more bass, I need more me, essentially, I can listen to it and actually judge from before they start to ask. I can get the headphone mix right. And if the headphone mix is right to start with, we're just going to save a lot of time on the session. It also has this auxiliary input, which I have this cable handy, which is just an RCA to RCA cable that I've got an RCA to mini jack on the end of it. So I can plug that into the back of here, and then people can plug an iPod in, they can plug a phone in, and we can listen to a rough mix, we can listen to somebody else's track that they want as a reference track. I've also got this little Apple headphone adapter, because if you've got an Apple phone, you can't just plug it straight into a headphone port, which is incredibly annoying. That's why I've got one. All in all, this is a fantastic product. Just take a look around the back of it. If I just spin it round, actually, you can see all of these are the line outputs. So there's main line outputs and then the Q line outputs. I've got the Q line outputs hardwired into my headphone amp over here. And then we've got speaker outputs A, B and C. And then there's little trim pots on these so that we can balance between them. Here's the auxiliary in, SPDIF in, and I think there's a 3.5mm jack in as well. So it's got all bases covered really for things like that. And then there's the two main inputs, stereo 1 and stereo 2. It's quite compact, it's quite a light device to be fair. Yeah, I've been really impressed with it. The Talkback thing's particularly good. So when I do my Talkback now, I can actually talk back to people in the rest of the studio, which previously I was having to set another mic up to do that, and that was a little bit of a pain. The Talkback feature is really useful and has come in use already. It's been a fantastic thing. Yeah, so all in all, it's a great product. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in what I'm doing, please remember to subscribe, and I've got new content coming every Friday. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.